Well, you feel a mother is not supposed to bury her child.
As mothers, Wendy Benjamin,
Day by day, it's something always to remind you of your child.
Latasha Kavanaugh,
We're living without our children.
and Tammy Davis.
Sometimes it get hard trying to talk about it. It really do.
All three recently buried young sons, victims to the growing problem of homicide in Shreveport.
It hurts. I can't help but to cry whenever I talk about it or think about it.
Sitting down with me
He was my only son.
to talk about their boys,
I'm just lost without him.
all three women shared a version of the same story. Since day one, they felt all but ignored by the Shreveport Police Department.
They never called me to this day and told me my son was dead.
The detective in charge of your son's case
Never
called?
Never.
The detectives don't even much help to solve the crime. They can't tell me that they working on it. You ain't working on it. You don't want to give us a call back. He didn't call me or my husband. Our children mattered. They may not have mattered to them, but I feel like when you take a job, do your job.
During our emotional 45-minute conversation,
I don't imagine it ever gets easy.
It don't.
these mothers said they're not upset with the police officers working the streets of Shreveport.
Everyone that works for Shreveport Police,
It's not bad.
it's not bad.
Instead, their growing frustration lies with the people working at department headquarters.
It starts at the top.
It starts at the top.
The
It starts
top.
at the top.
Police chief,
The
crime.
police chief,
The top.
and it comes all the way down. He's the chief of police. What exactly is he instilling in the people that fall under him? My son was laying there on the ground.
There in the end of this lot.
Yeah, laying right there on the ground.
You knew it was him before you
I
even
knew.
got back there.
I knew. After I found out that was my baby, the next day, I came around here early that morning, and I laid on this ground where my son's body was. I laid on this ground
Just to be closer to him.
just to feel something. God placed somebody somewhere to see something that happened to my son.
So you need someone who saw
Yes.
something to speak
Yes.
out for your son.
Yes.
The people watching this tonight that live in these communities, these neighborhoods that are seeing violence, what do they need to know? What can they do to help change this?
They need to speak out. They need to speak out. Because the violence ain't going to stop until someone stand up and says, enough is enough.
In a small Catholic cemetery, tucked away in the back corner, a headstone marking the grave of Joshua Lacombe sits alone. It's the final resting place for Evelyn Gilroy's only son.
The worst.
On May 3rd, 2018, Josh was shot and killed behind this home on Vine Street in Shreveport. According to police reports, witnesses heard two men arguing before the sound of gunshots. The first officer arriving on the scene found Josh lying on the ground, not breathing, shot 4 times in his chest, shoulder, and right hand. Shortly after Evelyn got word of Josh's death at her home in South Louisiana, Shreveport police took this man, Herman Woods, into custody. Witnesses saw the 50-year-old homeless man leaving the deadly scene in a hurry. During an interview inside City Jail, Woods admitted shooting Josh. But 3 months after his arrest, the case against Woods got dismissed.
A man suspected of killing your son is arrested, but you learn he's not going to be prosecuted for murder. What goes through your mind at that? Anger.
Evelyn's anger is directed at the district attorney's office. She believes prosecutors presented a weak case to the grand jury, avoiding trial because her 38-year-old son, who struggled with drugs for years, was also living homeless in a tent behind the rundown house where he was killed. But Evelyn's claim against prosecutors is one Caddo Parish District Attorney James Stewart denied.
That's totally not true.
In an exclusive interview with me.
What do we tell people in Shreveport when they're seeing so many homicides and so few convictions?
It's still America, and you can't indict someone unless there's a prosecutable case.
You say you have to have a prosecutable case
Correct.
to get an indictment. Is the Shreveport Police Department failing to give you prosecutable cases?
Well, I think they do what they do, and we take what they give us, and we try to see if it's a prosecutable case.